As investigators began to unravel Michael Jackson's final hours, a timeline emerged. A timeline detailed in a search warrant affidavit. This is what investigators believe happened based on evidence and eyewitness accounts, including those of Jackson's personal physician, Dr. Conrad Murray. On the last night of his life, Jackson made his way through L.A. towards Beverly Hills. As he did, few really knew the dark secrets a pop legend carried with him to 100 North Carrollwood Drive. Michael Jackson spent his final hours here at this rented mansion in L.A. According to the search warrant affidavit, his personal physician, Dr. Conrad Murray, told police it was a restless and ultimately a drug-fueled night, with Jackson battling his chronic insomnia, allegedly pleading with Murray to give him a powerful and dangerous anesthetic called propofol. Randy Taraborelli is a Jackson biographer and lifelong confidant.
I used to always say, and I still believe, that Michael would have paid $1 million for a good night's sleep. And that's not an exaggeration. He actually would have.
Michael Jackson was plagued by insomnia for years.
Journalist Jim Murray also spent years covering Jackson.
He was just plagued with this horrible inability to go to sleep, and he would rely upon doctors to provide him with medication so that he could sleep.
According to police, Jackson's final hours beyond these windows involved a cocktail of drugs, allegedly administered by Dr. Murray. Based on the affidavit, Dr. Murray's efforts to get Jackson to sleep began with a 10-milligram tablet of Valium around 1:30 a.m. It didn't work. So according to the affidavit, Dr. Murray injected the singer with an anti-anxiety drug. By 3 a.m., however, Jackson was still awake, so Murray told police he tried another drug, a sedative. That didn't work either. What Jackson really wanted, according to Murray, was the anesthetic propofol. Murray told investigators that Jackson repeatedly asked for the drug that final night, but insisted he repeatedly denied the singer. Murray claims he was actually trying to wean Jackson off of propofol at the time, fearing he'd formed an addiction. Ed Chernoff is Murray's attorney.
He doesn't have any specialized training in addiction recovery. That's true. Who else is addicted to a drug like propofol? There's no protocol for how to wean someone off a drug like that.
The theory that Conrad Murray was trying to break Michael Jackson of a propofol addiction in the last hours of his life is kind of an interesting theory. There doesn't seem to be any doubt that Michael Jackson knew what drugs he wanted and when he wanted them. And Michael Jackson appeared to be able to get whatever he wanted, whenever he wanted.
According to the affidavit, as dawn broke at 100 North Carrollwood Drive on June 25, 2009, Michael Jackson, still awake and restless, apparently wasn't taking no for an answer anymore when it came to propofol.
Michael Jackson did not like to be told what to do. And that was a huge issue, you know, and anybody who worked for Michael and knew Michael will tell you that this was a man who lived his life on his own terms.
After hours of denying Jackson propofol, police investigators say Dr. Murray finally relented. At 10:40 a.m., he gave the pop legend 25 milligrams of the anesthetic through an IV drip, and Jackson finally went to sleep. According to the search warrant affidavit, at 10:50 a.m., Dr. Murray got up to go to the bathroom. A few minutes later, Murray says he returned to find his very famous patient no longer breathing. He began CPR.
The cook at the house told me that there were certain things that seemed to happen every day around 8, 9 in the morning. That Conrad Murray would come downstairs for breakfast. He'd often be holding a canister of oxygen. But on this morning, the morning of Jackson's death, he didn't. It was much later, and he called for the children.
According to the search warrant affidavit, Murray asked Jackson's eldest son, Prince Michael, to come upstairs and then continued CPR.
And if you're putting the pieces together from a prosecution standpoint, you could argue that Conrad Murray wanted witnesses to say they saw Conrad Murray trying to revive Michael Jackson.
At 11:18 that fateful morning, police say Dr. Murray made a series of 3 cell phone calls spanning 47 minutes. This timeline suggests that more than an hour had passed since Jackson was found not breathing. It is a timeline that Murray and his attorney fiercely contest.
I think it's clear that what they're doing is hypothesizing about the timeline. That's not what happened, and that's not what the doctor told them.
What is not in dispute is this.
We have a gentleman here that needs help, and he's not breathing yet. He's not breathing, and we're trying to pump him, but he's not breathing, sir.
Okay, how old is he?
He's 50 years old, sir.
At approximately 12:22 p.m., Jackson security guard Alberto Alvarez made a 911 call, and Los Angeles Fire Station 71 responded.
When they got on scene, it's a large mansion not too far from here.
Captain Steve Ruda is a spokesman for the LA Fire Department.
They were directed to the patient, which was upstairs in the home, and they found their patient was Michael Jackson, later identified to us as Michael Jackson, pulseless and non-breathing. Pulseless, not breathing means no heartbeat and no breaths.
Conrad Murray was a doctor, and when paramedics came, it was within Conrad Murray's purview to call the death or not call the death. He did not call that death. He wanted it done at the hospital.
So Jackson, with no heartbeat and not breathing, was taken to UCLA Medical Center along with Dr. Murray.
Since he took on the responsibility at the scene, remember I told you that we have to ask the doctors, even though you're a doctor, do you take full responsibility for this patient? Or are you willing to take full responsibility? And he said he would. So he followed through and rode with the paramedics in the ambulance right behind me to just a short ride to UCLA.
Michael Jackson was officially pronounced dead at 2:26 p.m., June 25th, 2009, by a doctor at UCLA. That's nearly 4 hours after Dr. Murray told investigators he'd noticed the singer was not breathing. Murray, according to the search warrant affidavit, refused to sign the death certificate. The Los Angeles coroner would rule Michael Jackson's death a homicide. The cause of death, acute propofol intoxication. Dr. Murray would later be charged with involuntary manslaughter. Coming up, accusations of a conspiracy. Are there others to blame for killing Michael Jackson?
You think someone killed him purposely?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Do you know who they are?
Oh, of course.